oftentimes things are viewed very, very differently. Like I'm gonna hit you with a bombshell right now that might kind of surprise you, which is that recently, over the weekend, my girl, after 7 years of only sleeping with me and only recording corn with me, shot her first ever scene with a guy.
Oh no!
Besides me.
How did that go?
Well, it's not out yet or anything. I'm actually like people hearing this. This might be the first time they hear about it.
Bombshell. Why? Of course, I'm the podcast.
No, I told Destiny about it earlier, which is even better.
Okay.
Except he was with Crip Mac, which made it a little hard to get the words out because Crip Mac just kept talking about cripping. But yeah, I agreed. I was like, you know what? She's only going to be doing this adult content for a couple more years. Realistically, you know, why not let her do what she's got to do business wise?
How did you select the guy?
It's actually somebody that I'm real cool with that stood out to us as like, okay, he would make sense because he's like very high profile.
You picked the guy?
I wouldn't say I picked him, but he was just kind of like one of the obvious ones. And, you know, I know him. He's a cool guy. So I'm kind of, but I say that and you can let me know what you think of that. But it's viewed very differently in the two different worlds because in the adult content space, I mean, I'm assuming that a lot of the girls are going to be like, "Oh my God, that's so cool that you let her do that.
It's empowering and all this stuff.
That's amazing." You know, blah blah blah. It'll probably be like make her super lit for a period of time. But then, meanwhile, I'm prepared for within the hip hop space to be absolutely attacked for it.
Yeah, you're gonna get.
So
there's gonna be some lyrics about it for sure.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
I'm thinking mostly like YouTubers and streamers.
There's some bars in there.
If that's gonna get me in some songs, that's cool though.
That is pretty cool. Is that the way you want to be remembered for? It's not that those allegations never leave.
What, of being a cuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you get it hard.
It's never gonna.
And the thing with you is that you just like talked about it, whereas this, like, I haven't actually seen it yet. But
you haven't seen it yet?
The content, no. But like, it's gonna be on Twitter. I'm gonna at least see the trailer.
Right.
Probably not gonna go out of my way to see the full like half-hour version or whatever.
Yeah,
but
don't.
I don't know that I need to see that.
It's never going to remove.
I feel like the trailer will probably show me a few of the essential angles, and that would be good enough. But I don't know. There's part of me that just felt like, you know, if this is going to like be really beneficial to her career, and me and her have slept with, I don't know, maybe like 300 girls together over the years.
It's fair.
I don't know. Is it fair? It didn't feel like the biggest deal.
I mean, that was my mindset. Is like we do in this previous relationship. Obviously, I don't do that anymore. And
right.
I want to get married. I don't even want to date.
We could talk about your transformation for sure.
Yeah. So I completely don't advocate for that lifestyle at all. But when I was doing degenerate stuff, that was my mindset. Like we do I'm with all these girls, and she lets me do threesomes. So it's like, let me make it fair.
But how long did you even date the girl that you did this with?
It was on and off for a while. It was,
oh, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't that serious.
I mean, if it's a girl that you're not even like really that serious with, then I especially don't think.
But you're doing it with your wife.
I know.
Who you have a kid with, and you were just traveling across Europe. So before we go into this degenerate stuff, I was really happy. Like I message you all the time, because I thought you were on this.
You're like using me as an example of someone who's in porn but living like a healthy lifestyle and has the right attitude about girls and sex. I heard you mention me on Fresh and Fit recently, but yeah,
what did I say?
You were just like, you know, I had a conversation with Adam22 the other day, and he was telling me how even after having sex with, you know, hundreds and hundreds of girls, that he finds way more fulfillment in the family thing and everything like that.
Yeah, I think that's dope. I don't agree with you on everything, but I like to see your Instagram stories, and I always respond to them. Like you travel, you spend like a month off. You were in Europe. It was your honeymoon. Congratulations. That's dope.
Best time of my life.
And just, you seem really happy as a father, which I didn't expect. I've been watching your content for years, and to see you doing the dad thing, like you're pushing on the swing and all this stuff, it's really cool to see.
Well, okay, let me put it like this. A long time ago, I was listening to a Joe Budden podcast, and he was talking about how he has a really hard time listening to music at this point, because once you get really into the music industry, it's hard to just listen to a song and not think about the you know, the reasons why that song was created. Like, you know, you hear a song and you're like, oh, this is his street song to try to like get the bodegas turned up, and then this is his love song to try to get the girls tuned in. And once you start like realizing that album rollouts are usually very similar, and a lot of these songs are just not really like created holistically.
They're all strategic, and he knows the label side of it. So
and at that point, you know, you grew up loving hip hop, and now all of a sudden your perspective on it is kind of like, God damn, this shit is formulaic as fuck. Yeah. And you know, that kind of makes it hard to like just hear music and just feel this like passionate response. And I would kind of say the same thing about sex, where, you know, when I think about like the early days of my relationship, I was dying to have different threesomes and crazy out experiences and shit like that. But then once you start shooting porn, and, you know, a day at work might be me fucking 2 or 3 different girls with my girl, it's kind of like, it makes it hard for me to understand, like when I see like I hear these stories about rappers or NBA players who are just like chasing like crazy, and they're giving girls all this money per month to be around so that they can f them more and stuff. And I'm just kind of like, as a dude who's doing this as a source of income, that now seems quite foreign to me.
I mean, what seems foreign to you?
Like spending your entire life chasing and just like acting like it's the most important thing in the world.
Yeah, it's not. It's just like the biggest waste of time ever.
Yeah.
It's the biggest time suck. It's just not worth it.
And the reality is that if you want to have good sex, meaningful sex, you're probably going to get that by having sex with the same woman over and over, and not by
Which is great to see that you've been with hundreds of girls and you're the one saying that.
Yeah.
It's like everybody like inherently knows that, but still, like that's the number one thing that's going to hold men back is their lust. I would say the same thing happened with probably like with Andrew Tate. He's like facing all these charges right now. Oh, he's completely innocent, but the number one vice that men are probably excused of is lust.
Yeah.
And you see so many countless examples of men going down over and over again. Even the president, Bill Clinton, for example, like went down because he was getting some head. That's like the one thing that men are not shamed enough for that can really ruin your whole career. Like McGregor's getting accused of R-word. Every man, and I've seen this my whole life, and that's why I've been very careful, stuff like that. I've recorded so many stuff, audio messages, just like, even when I was like 15, 16, that's why you're not going to see any allegations against me, because I was always aware that's the number one thing that could ruin a man's entire career.
Yeah.
And so it's just best, I would say, for if there's any like teenage men watching, the best thing to do is to avoid that. And I know I'm saying this now, and 90% of the guys aren't going to do it. They're going to continue to chase anyway. Even me, probably. You know, like I don't want to put it out and say I'm going to mess up, but it's probably going to happen. But that's the number one. I see it equivalent to being a drug addict.
Right.
It's just a dopamine release, and there's nothing fulfilling about it.
Yeah. Because for me, like, I'm very happy to be in a committed relationship where I'm, you know, sleeping in the same bed with this girl and having meaningful experiences that are going way outside of sex and everything with the family and the, you know.
And you make a lot of money. Like, why still do porn?
Well, that's part of making a lot of money. But you're right, though. I don't have to do the porn thing, but you know, I don't know.
Same thing with your wife too. You make so much. Does she need to do that?
She doesn't need to do it,
No,
but it feels like, you know, this is her career. This is what she's been doing for 6-7 years, and it's not like, you know, I think there's part of her that wants to kind of see what the heights of her career could be, because of the fact that her always being with me sort of held her back financially a little bit, because like the number one most requested thing is that they want to see her with the BBC.
Oh, it was a black dude.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, is it really that? Like, why even view it as a career? It's something. It's an intimate act, and you're separating that and turning it into a job.
Yeah, but at a certain point, raking in 6 figures a month from doing adult content becomes kind of part of your identity, you know? And
does she want that or be her identity?
I think she just realizes that she's probably in the twilight of that, and that at some point,
this is the last chance.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably gonna have another kid within like 2-3 years, and we're probably gonna have another kid. And at that point, like, I mean, let me tell you, having a kid makes the whole being a porn star thing for the woman infinitely more difficult.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's gonna have you. I mean, this might get personal, but like, have you thought about what's gonna happen when your kid starts finding out about this stuff?
Nah,
forget it.
I mean, it's just, you know, it is what it is. She'll have, like, she already, if she knew what was going on, she'd realize that like a large percentage of her mom's friends did this or do this.
So it's just normal.
I mean, I just don't think that it'll necessarily carry the same level of oomph once my kid gets to the age where she understands. And obviously, you're going to like hide it from her until she is as old as possible, so that she'll hopefully be able to kind of get it. Or maybe she could like get it in steps, like, oh, mom is a model. Mom's doing a photo shoot today. Like people, oh, mom makes money because people like the photos of mom.
Mom's getting BBC'd.
And then at some point it's like, oh, mom and dad were doing more than just taking photos. I mean, I'm not going to say that it's going to be the easiest conversation in the world over time, but I definitely know a lot of corn parents who their kids get it, don't really give a shit. I mean, we kind of have wokeness to thank for that. Thank you, LGBTQ pioneers out there, for sort of like the whole sex worker normalization thing. I think it kind of comes with that, and a lot of these kids like
that's
probably think that this is the kind of thing that it's not okay to look down on somebody for that.
But that's what's destroying. That's what's destroying the West. That's why LA is so. You love LA, right?
I like the fact that it has the best weather in the country, has the most opportunities.
But the
for
culture
me
is just like
personally.
1 in 3 people, you have no idea what gender they are. They're just walking around and they're just like, what hair do they have? What's their body? They have an Adam's apple and boobs. You don't know.
Okay, I can't confirm.
These alien people walking around.
I can't confirm that ratio, but I will say that I went to the farmer's market the other day, and maybe I saw 100 people at the farmer's market in total. Pretty poppin' farmer's market, so it might be 200. I saw at least 3 trans people. So that really had me thinking, like,
Yeah.
this ratio is going up.
But don't you see how that's, you're using wokeness to justify, like, okay, well, woke culture is so strong right now. By the time my kid grows up, sex work is going to be so normalized that I won't even have to explain it. It's just going to be a regular thing.
That is one part of wokeness that I can appreciate. Also, like, normalizing, gay people feeling accepted in society, normalizing, like wokeness has a wide range of things that it affects. I mean, like, the fact that, like, a black guy feels safer walking down the street, that he's not going to be, I don't know, tackled by the police as often. I mean, wokeness is about also rooting that out from society as well, right?
Do black guys just get tackled by the police for crossing the street? I've never heard that.
Well, okay, it might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but
I don't think that's ever happened to
okay, like, there are a lot of things that fall under the woke umbrella, right?
That's true. But I think those are really overinflated, and the gay acceptance thing, that's the number that people think that. So this is where wokeness doesn't make any sense. Is they'll say, like, gay people need to be normalized, but then they wave LGBT flags at the White House, and the president is
show their titties.
Yeah, and the
trans titties.
The president's with the tranny on the White House lawn. So it's like, are you guys just like, oh, we need to go accept this? It's accepted. They're waving the flags everywhere. They replaced the American flag with the pride flag. There's a whole month to celebrate this stuff right now. That people are walking through the streets saying that we were going for your kids. We're going for your kids.
When I saw that clip, I was like, they don't want to be accepted. Like, if they really wanted to be accepted, they'd be willing to cede some ground and admit that, like, chanting we're coming for your kids is not a good idea. And it's like the same thing with the trans sports conversation. Like, if the LGBTQ community was really concerned with being accepted, they would give up on some parts of their platform, such as the fact that, like, letting biological males play against women in sports is just fucking atrocious.
But it's not, that's the thing, it's not about acceptance. It's about converting everybody to gay. Because gay people can't reproduce. And that's the reason that we exist. God created everybody so that we can reproduce. And that's why you look so happy as a father, and why that makes me happy seeing that you're enjoying fatherhood, because that's the reason why we exist. And the LGBT people, they will always resent the fact that they can never fulfill their purpose. So they reproduce by coming for the children.
Well, but they can reproduce through surrogates. We see gay dudes with kids that they adopt all the time.
That's not real. That's not real reproduction. They reproduce, and they don't even really want. They don't want kids. They don't want straight kids. They want more gay people. That's why it's not about acceptance. It's about making everybody gay. So they get more gay people by touching a kid, by putting a flag in a school.
A flag.
A flag. I became Asian for a second. Okay. That's their way of reproducing it.
I'm down for the critique of wokeness, but I don't think that the vast majority of these people actually want to, like, indoctrinate kids into being gay.
Well, then why are they chanting, we're coming, we're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children?
I think that is a very specific group right there.
I know, but 10 years ago,
the average gay person is looking at that clip thinking, what the fuck?
Is that true? I think if they were at that pride parade, 1, they wouldn't say anything. 2, most of them would probably just join in the chant. And even 10 years ago when we legalized gay marriage, people were like, all the religious people were like, this is a bad slippery slope. And they're like, no, we need to accept this. But look where we are now. 10 years ago, you couldn't imagine a parade of people in a park publicly saying we're queer, we're coming for your kids.
Yeah.
And now that's happening. So what's going to be in 10 years?